Well, let's talk a bit more about what's been happening in Taiwan today then. Una Aleksandra Berzina-Cerenkova is with me. She's the head of the China Studies Center at Riga Stardings University. Really good to talk to you today. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening.
So we know that China has conducted military drills before over Taiwan. How significant in scale would you say what we've seen today is?
Indeed, after the visit of Nancy Pelosi a few years back, we did see a gradual increase in gray zone activity from the People's Republic of China vis-a-vis Taiwan, including an increase, a slow boiling increase in wargaming and drills. But there are two things that are worrisome today. And the first thing is that the People's Liberation Army are playing out the blockade scenario, which is, if you ask Taiwanese security specialists, they will tell you it is the scenario that has Taiwan the most worried, because when it comes to a kinetic attack of getting, basically swimming across the strait and getting out, that would require major human life loss and financial loss, not only on the side of Taiwan, but also on the side of the People's Republic of China. So the Taiwanese say that's it's always a risk, but it's not your first risk. But the first risk is blockade. And we do see, yes, this is indeed the second year when these drills include a blockade scenario. But this year is the first time that it's stated that these drills are aimed at sort of deterrence, keeping the other forces out, right? So it is sort of upping the ante. Now, the other thing here is that there's also a creeping quality to those drills, because drills can turn into real world action really quickly. And this time, just the time distance between the admission that there's going to be these drills to action was really narrow. So that, again, brings you back to this gray zone anxiety that we have over China's actions for Taiwan.
And let's talk about timing then. Why do you think we're seeing this show of force now? I mentioned earlier on the major American arms sale to Taipei. Do you draw a direct link there?
Oh, certainly. We see that in the messaging from the People's Liberation Army. We see that it does speak about, first of all, this is sort of a signal to the forces that are pro-Taiwan independence, which is code for the parties that, even though we don't see a real shift of status quo coming from Taiwan, but this is sort of code for some of the parties in Taiwan that are more sort of independent, let's say. But the second part of that statement features this warning to forces of external interference, which, of course, is meant vis-a-vis the United States and President Donald Trump. Now, we do have to admit that President Trump's approach to Taiwan has indeed been ambiguous. Perhaps he hasn't really signed up to the strategic ambiguity principle that was the leading one before him, but we still see ambiguity in his actions, right? We see this arms sale. And we see, at the same time, we see him saying that he wants to visit Beijing in April next year. He wants to see Xi Jinping, China's president, over for a state visit in the States. So he is sending these double signals. And of course, we do know that even though we are worried about the U.S. withdrawal and disinterest and disengagement from Europe, we are seeing that the focus on the Indo-Pacific is still, even with the new security strategy, is still very much there for the United States. And Taiwan, of course, is a crucial point of that.
And I was going to ask you directly about Donald Trump, given that we're talking about him in this program in the context of Ukraine and of Gaza. You describe his strategy here as being a little ambiguous towards Taiwan. So I wonder whether you can just give us a sense of how concerned you think Taipei is now. I mean, the language from the government in Taipei talking about military intimidation by Beijing. Do you think that there is a real sort of tangible concern that actually some kind of military intervention from China could happen, in the next couple of years? What are we talking about here?
Well, there is certainly concern. Hello?
Do you hear us? We hear you.
Yes, sorry.
Go ahead. I think we had a small interruption on our line.
I did hear your question, though. Apologies. So yes, there is certainly concern. Now, Taipei is always very careful with balancing these two. So on one hand, on keeping up the pressure on the public to remind them that the threat is real, but on the other hand, avoiding panic, avoiding just disengagement from people when they feel that, it's already lost, like the battle is lost before it even began. So it's a very, very balanced game from Taipei's perspective. And this is no different. So there have been countermeasures launched in Taiwan, but we see that the messaging is still about keeping the public calm and engagement. It's still there.